4, 3, 2, 1.
Harambe.
Harambe. Yes, Harambe. Welcome all to our inaugural online lecture session where we're asking, can all that is lost be restored since 1994? 28 years later. It's a lecture by Xolani Masango for the Vision Communications Group on the 6th of December from 2 o'clock up until 3 o'clock. In relation to our flow, we're going to be looking at the questions of, can all that is lost be restored? Is reconciliation possible? What are the requirements for reconciliation? Do you remember reconciliation? And are we ready for reconciliation? In the first 30 minutes, Mr. Xolani Masango will be taking us through the definitions, objectives, insight, the themes and the epochs and epic moments, as well as icons and inventions and world firsts in line with the global stage, whilst looking at the current status quo and posture in relation to the dynamics of inequality, along with nation building, with our national flag and our coat of arms closing in with our national anthem. The Day of Reconciliation as a whole is a public holiday in South Africa, which is held annually on the 16th of December. The holiday came into effect in 1995 after the end of apartheid with the intention of fostering reconciliation and national unity for the country. The date was chosen because it was significant for both Afrikaner and Black African cultures. The government chose a meaningful date for both ethnic groups because they recognized the need for racial harmony. The celebration of the Day of Reconciliation can take the form of remembering past history, recognizing veterans' contributions, marching on other festivities. The origins of the celebration of the Afrikaners goes back to the Day of the Vow, celebrated on commemorating of the Voortrekker victory over the Zulus at the Battle of Blood River on the 16th of December 1838. For African people, the date has been significant as one of both peaceful protests against racial injustice and the founding of the more militant Umkhonto weSizwe by the African National Congress on the 16th of December 1961. Nelson Mandela and the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission chose a date that was special to both ethnic groups in the country in order to work on healing the damage done by apartheid. Our objectives are to correct historical distortions and misrepresentations. We want to initiate a nationwide dialogue. We want to create a comfortable platform for the discussion of thorny topics. We want to promote the teachings of Ubuntu. We want to advocate for social cohesion and inclusivity. We want to usher in a new renewed spirit of national pride. We want to avert an imminent bloody revolution through this continuous discussion dialogue. And we want to inculcate a culture of conflict resolution through dialogue. We want to shape and build patriotic activists. And with that, one of our patriotic lecturers and trailblazer researchers, Mr. Xolani Masango, will be taking us through his patriotic deep love for the country. With a further appreciation for his roots and culture, he's a prolific trailblazing researcher, a scriptwriter who paints pictures with his words, and his ability to turn his research into untold stories is remarkable. As a social observer, he tackles and counters his findings with deep insight married with his research. His love for literature saw him write a book which has since gotten glowing reviews before publication, and he hopes to spin it off in an animation series. As a patriot, he's also a firm believer in transformation in action, and this means investing in grassroots talent and developing local talent. His biggest motivation is mentorship, and he finds it as a sustainable way of development. He currently acts in his capacity as a scriptwriter and researcher for the pact 2085 series, if not more. So the Day of Reconciliation, South Africa, our land, a land of immense beauty and unified cultural diversity, a rainbow nation, a shining beacon of forgiveness which serves as an example of the entire world of what working together in unity truly means, or is it? Perhaps from the outside looking in, if you take a closer look, or indeed looking from the inside, the picture changes drastically. As you zoom in, you find a completely different reality. It is far removed from the rosy picture of togetherness that has been painted to the world. A closer look reveals not the rainbow nation living in harmony as imagined by the late great statesman Nelson Mandela and the Reverend Archbishop Mpilo Desmond Tutu. You see a land of stark contrasts and painful contradictions. You see a polarized people going about their business, pretending to be at peace with one another and themselves. You see a land built on cracked foundation of broken promises, a land of unfulfilled desires, a land of unrealistic potential, a land that takes 5 steps forward and 10 steps back, while pretending to be making progress. You see a land of false hope and artificial brotherhood. Ultimately, you see a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Indeed, what you see is a dance floor full of people who, while dancing to the same song, some dance to remember and some dance to forget, yet the melody and the words are exactly the same. With a little bit in, so let me hand over to Mr. Kolani Masango, who will give us a little bit more insight behind it all.
So having studied various epochs in our country's very long and rich history, the focus is placed on 4 very distinct periods, which have been identified as follows. The period from Masi-Hlanganeni to Masi-Hlanganeni, which covers 1828 to 1909. The period of Pixligasene to Inkosi Agafiti, which covers 1910 to 1960. The formation of Umkhonto Wesizwe Inkotesa negotiation, which covers 1961 to 1993. The political breakthrough of 1994 up to the 6th Democratic Administration, which is now in 2002. We have identified the recurring themes as follows: tranquility, uncertainty, survival, betrayal, conflict, and hope. To expand on these themes, we look at tranquility as a harmonious existence, peaceful and content living. Uncertainty is the fear of the unknown, doubt over things to come, and venturing into uncharted clarity. And this is figurative, of course. Survival is underpinned by a strong desire for self-preservation, as survival is the strongest and most primal of human instinct. Betrayal comes when agreements are reached only to be breached and reneged on, resulting in suspicion, lack or loss of trust, and at a win at all cost mentality that ends up eroding the moral fiber and ethical behavior. Conflict becomes natural. It's a natural progression in the wake of betrayal, and a struggle to gain the upper hand ensues, taking many forms. Hope is fueled by the unwavering, undying, and eternal spirit of redemption, which amid all the pain and suffering still presents the belief that things can get better. It is the same unshakable spirit that will not let native people of our country to give up on other races, keeps ushering them towards the enlightenment that seeks to entrench the notion that all mankind are created equal. These themes are evident throughout history and will keep recurring, as it has been displayed in the comic book 5 comics out the day of the contribution. The first period of Masi-Hlanganeni to Masi-Hlanganeni, which I said covers the period from 1828 to 1909. Here we see in the first epoch, life goes on serenely before the arrival of the settlers. With the arrival of the settlers from the Cape Colony, uncertainty in the Amazulu kingdom took shape. Survival is the very reason for the great threat, where the Afrikaners feel that their existence is threatened and they need to find a land to call their own if they were to endure. Out of desperation, the African leaders resolved that they would do anything to survive, even if it means going back on their way. Having been sent to recover cattle, horses and guns from the Batoko chief Sikonyela by King Pingan, Ipupi decides to hand over only the cattle and keep the weapons and horses for himself, which humiliates and infuriates the king. Inevitably, conflict breaks out, seeing that the environment is not conducive for an amicable resolution. Dark times, doom and gloom engulf the land. Ultimately, the lingering spirit of dignity guides the warring parties towards the humanity that ties them together and forces them to try and seek common ground. The second epoch of Masi-Hlanganeni being also which covers the period from 1910 to 1960. In the aftermath of the Anglo-Boer War and the combattant rebellion, there was a lull with regards to popular uprising. This period was closely followed by a period of uncertainty leading up to the formation of the Union of South Africa in 1910. In typical survival mode, the Afrikaner excludes the native population from matters concerning the Union of the country, even though all the races participated in a war that should rightly defend the South African war. Exclusion of black people and the black population from government structures and the British monarch's stance of non-meddling are seen as a huge betrayal, and it shows clearly that the marginalization of black people continues. The disenfranchisement of black people sparks a conflict which is waged through peaceful means and influenced by the growth in popularity of the passive resistance movement worldwide, and also by petitioning the courts for support. As the need arises to adapt to this new way of waging war against oppression in the courts, this period sees an emergence of black legal minds, among them the likes of Alfred Mandela, Masi-Hlanganeni, Richard Msimang, and Charlotte Maxwell, to name but a few. The restoration of hope comes in the form of the establishment of the liberation movement, which is seen as an agent of positive change coming directly after the Sharpeville massacre. The next period that we cover is the season up to Codesa negotiation, which is 1961 up to 1992. This period sets off with the forced sense of tranquility, as the dejected black masses seem to have accepted their fate at the hands of minority rule, and they go about their business manually. The establishment of the Republic of South Africa in 1961 brings about a period of mass confusion, as once again an opportunity to include black people in government structure and accept them as being equal members of society as well. As a means of self-preservation, the lay of the land sees the Afrikaner twist every aspect of life in their favor and to the detriment of the majority black population. The introduction of strict cut and more brutal segregation laws spits in the face of any efforts towards inclusive development. The liberation movement and the apartheid machinery are at loggerheads for nearly 3 decades in a war of attrition with many facets. The unveiling of political formations, freeing of political prisoners, the return of the exile, and attempts at a negotiated settlement bring about a renewed sense of optimism for the country. The last epoch that we cover is from the political breakthrough of 1994 up to the current day South Africa, which is 2022. This is an era kicking off with the absolute euphoria, since a lot of progress has been made and the principle of one man, one vote has prevailed. So the future of the country looks bright in the eyes of the world and all its citizens, and the country stands tall as a beacon of humankind, which exemplifies true forgiveness. With the drafting of a new constitution, with the supreme law of the land, and a change in the macroeconomic policy, curiosity, expectation, and novelty rule the roost as everyone is kept guessing. An opportunity of bridging the gap is made clear, as there are clauses in the Constitution which, in the main, help maintain the status quo and do very little for meaningful transformation, as the focus is shifted from making amends to ensuring that there won't be any form of accountability, but denial and lip service instead. Instead of a vigorous initiative to transform society, what you see is the violated party reaching out more and more, only to find that the transgressing side is downright arrogant, defensive, and using delaying tactics and deviation tactics to stall and sabotage any attempts at progress. And this results in a doomed effect for the majority of the citizens. Indeed, this is an untenable situation. Protest marches continuous litigation, stalling, and riots to keep the nation at war with itself once again, wherein all kinds of weaponry are deployed. Armed with immunity, an open dialogue culture, and the new genuinely patriotic activism, we are in a position to shape our story moving forward, with the sole aim of correcting all deviations from the dream as a collective. Also, confronting these anomalies, which are usually sensitive to speak about, is a must. Over the years, there have been some huge moments, either taking us as a nation to the brink of total doom or swinging the pendulum on a positive trajectory. Here we look at some of the prominent ones that have made us think, and those that have allowed us to believe again and restore hope. We start with the Rubicon speech, which was delivered by the second to last apartheid state president, P.W. Botha, on the 15th of August 1985, where the entire world was holding its breath, expecting him to announce significant reforms such as the abolishment of apartheid, the release of political prisoners, and the unbanning of political organizations, which would set into motion the process of freeing the colonized black majority. Instead, he backtracked and intensified the call for apartheid to be strengthened and continued. This was to the dismay of the expectant international community, and further it entrenched the oppression of non-whites in the country. The Battle of Tito Cannavale, which was a bloody battle of attrition involving world superpowers and liberation movements, which was fought in Angola over South Africa's continued oppression of the Namibian people. The Namibian independence from South Africa, which was declared on 21 March 1990, following the release of Nelson Mandela just previously on the 11th of February 1990. After a decade-long war, which ended in 1989, the independence was declared. Needless to say, this would have resulted in the call to liberate South Africa, and South Africans echoing louder and louder. The whites-only referendum on ending apartheid was held on 17 March 1992, and following an 85% voter turnout, which translated into more than 2.8 million white South Africans, this saw a majority of 69% agreeing to begin reform and the process of dismantling apartheid, which was spearheaded by F.W. de Klerk, the last apartheid state president. CODESA, or the Convention for Democratic South Africa. This came about after a series of talks about talks. This was captured in the Protest Field Minute and the Pretoria Minute, whose main function was to create a climate for free and fair elections, come up with principles and guidelines for a constitution-making body, put into place transitional mechanisms and transitional government structure, reincorporation of homeland, and set out implementation and timeframe. However, it wasn't smooth sailing, as this deadlocked a few times and was characterized by boycotts and sabotage by various role players from all ends of the spectrum. It ultimately succeeded and culminated in ushering in the new democratic dispensation. Remember 20 Roads diving ran out of Pakistan Great in the Mamman Hut, which happened at the 1992 Cricket World Cup, which was held in New Zealand and Australia. This was one of the first brilliant iconic sporting moments since readmission into the international stage, which was unique to South Africa and captured the imagination of the planet. In as much as cricket was and still is considered to be a white elite sport in the eyes of community South Africans, that sporting moment was a taste of things to come, insofar as excellent moments in the sport are in it. If only for a fleeting moment, all South Africans were truly united and rallied behind the national team for the first time in history. This, together with subsequent triumphs in the Olympic Games in Barcelona and subsequent election, played a significant role in nation building. Our Nobel Prize laureates, which have come out of South Africa across various fields, have been numerous, and most notably in the political sphere. We have Chief Albert Lutuli, F.W. de Klerk, and the only two recipients in the world who who have lived or resided on the same street. In South Africa's and the world's largest township, which is Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and the father of the nation, Nelson Mandela. The assassination of the much-loved SACP Secretary General and Inconto Senior Chief of Staff, Martin Temsile, popularly known as Peter in 1993, by a Polish immigrant with conservative right-wing convictions, threatened to plunge the country into a civil war at a very volatile time, less than a year after the Boycott massacre. This was a watershed moment, as it could have killed the scale policy, but instead it is believed to have served as a catalyst in forcing the government to commit to an election date and to speed up the transition process. The successful hosting of subsequent winnings of major sporting events in successive years at the 1995 Rugby World Cup and the 1996 African Cup of Nations by our respective national teams, the Springboks and the Bafana, with Madula handing the captain with the trophies, was very symbolic and went a long way in cementing unity of the nation and strengthening our fledgling democracy. This also positioned South Africa in the pecking order on the continent and in the world. This country has never been short of powerful, inspirational, larger-than-life figures throughout its existence. In fact, it has been so richly blessed that it is almost like boastful. Such is the dominance of South Africans across various fields and aspects of human endeavor. Playing lead roles become almost natural and is always acceptable and encouraged by the rest of the world, as South Africa becomes exemplary to the rest of the world and serves as a beacon of hope in situations of doom and good. Below is a list of these world icons who have played a significant role in steering our people by earning and commanding respect among their peers in their respective fields. Of course, we will single out just a few. Nelson Mandela, Steve Bantibonke Biko, J.S. Medley, Ram Fisher, Alan Payton, Trevor Huddleston, and Kosi Johnson. These are compatriots who opted to align themselves with the likes of those who find themselves vulnerable and downtrodden when who are not popular or appealing to people. These are compatriots who chose not to turn a blind eye on atrocities inflicted on and perpetuated against an innocent people. These are people who left their comfort zone and risked it all to put humanity first. This is a type of patriotic activist we need to produce and nurture. They ask not what the country can do for them, but what service can they do to the cause of building a nation for a better tomorrow. Indeed, we stand on the shoulders of towering giants. As if this is the land of the chosen people. But how could it not be when miracles are witnessed or harnessed here on a daily basis? Perhaps as a result of self-dependence, maybe out of necessity, but South Africans almost always literally come up with the truth, especially when it matters most. There have been inventions and discoveries which have made our lives more convenient, and to top-line these, we will mention just a few. There is the computerized ticketing system, there is the CT scan, there is oil from coal refinery, there is the speed gun, there is the please call me, and the ticket scan. Hospital in 1967 under the supervision of head surgeon Dr. Christian Panay. Following this feat, the world was in total awe and Dr. Panay became a household name. Without denying nor affirming the involvement or not of Hamilton in this historic transplant, what becomes crystal clear is the importance of continuously and continually telling our stories in order to give a factual reference to events of daily significance and indeed that impact our day-to-day life and experiences. Had the culture of writing and documenting events been followed and practiced, it would have helped clear all the controversies surrounding the composition of the As a nation, we owe it to ourselves to bask in the glory of our compatriots' founding and groundbreaking moments and achievements. We need to celebrate the people who sacrificed and allowed their pioneering spirit to shine through and light our path as a country, and indeed all of humanity. Tributes must pour out, and honors must be bestowed on the rightful contributor, only. Since readmission into the global village, South Africa has been able to hold its own, and more often than not, almost naturally has led from the front on a number of aspects touching human life and shaping or defining human experience. From championing human rights advocacy to harnessing the spirit of inclusiveness and world cooperation. From staring down an abyss to climbing to the summit of the highest peaks of human achievement. From producing some of the finest actors and belting out the catchiest of tunes that have won numerous prestigious prestigious awards and achieved world acclaim. From gold-winning performances of unprecedented feats of human talent. From immense national pride to courage, humility, warmth, and the spirit of the day. These are but a few of our exports and exploits on a global scale. We're looking at membership of global bodies such as G20, BRICS, Non-Allied Movement, and African Union. The Comrades Marathon, which is the world's most popular road race, Lady Smith Black Mambazo, multi-Grammy award-winning a cappella group, Miriam Makeba, who is a legendary singer and anti-apartheid activist, Mark Shuttleworth, who is a space travel entrepreneur, Elon Musk, who is a future technology pioneer, Trevor Noah, a leading comedian and host of one of America's most popular and iconic TV shows, Kusom Bedu and Charlize Theron, who are prominent actresses, Bobby Scheckter, who was a Formula One driver championship winner, Stephen Zaho, who is a BMX superstar and Olympian. We looked at Wilbur Smith, Esty Ampasele, Nick Mtongo, who are all renowned authors. There is also Lady M of the Lion King fame and animation. Gary Player, who also won 9 gold medals in his playing career. One would not have done justice without highlighting that some very talented white South African superstars were also, to a large extent, victims of a system which was not their own creation, and this impacted them on a personal and individual basis. The likes of Clyde Rice, Bruce Pollard, Nas Porter, and others, who at their time would have been world conquerors in their respective fields. But however, they recognized the opportunity to pit their talents against the best in the world and to top relevant ranking tables, which they potentially could have given their talent. This was due to the fact that conscientious sports governing bodies around the world had either expelled, barred, or isolated South Africa from participation for its continued application of unjust apartheid law, which subjugated the majority native black population for the longest time. The question we ask is, where are we now? Surely we are not where we would want to be, or where we would ought to be by a long shot. The legacy left by apartheid is glaring. South Africa has the undesirable distinction of being the most unequal country in the world when compared to nearly 200 other countries and territories around the globe. The transformation process has been very lethargic, to say the least. And even though there has been promulgation of pieces of legislation advocating for change, they have been negated by resistance, contestation, and procrastination. The naming of places with symbolic indigenous names has met fierce opposition from some quarters in both the black and white community, to such an extent that those who advocate for these changes are often labeled and vilified. Activists are often sent on a field trip when trying to voice out their sentiments and opinions on racially sensitive matters. Unfortunately, these very pertinent discussions are not being heard, and that leaves society polarized mainly along racial lines. This means continued denial among the white community and a growing disillusionment for the majority black population. As was the case in apartheid days, white people end up being in a cocoon and not in touch with the reality and plight of black people on the continent as a whole. As more and more time transpires without any tangible change, you see a growing level of despondency on the one side and a growing sense of arrogance on the other end. This does not augur well for cordial race relations, and also in terms of finding a meaningful and more permanent solution to the challenges that are being experienced on a daily basis. Being in denial and keeping it under the control of power play between the haves and the have-nots is a dangerous thing. This translates to growing distrust and races drifting further apart, making the drop of mending and growing bridges even harder. If left unattended, these wounds will fester to such an extent that the possibility of healing becomes elusive. So where to from here? Meaningful reconciliation should be our end goal, as this should be the foundation on which social cohesion and complete integration is founded. Acknowledging apartheid as a crime against humanity and having been a tool that was used to brutally subjugate fellow human beings to subhuman level and give one race material privilege over other races and countless advantages. The restoration of pride, dignity, and a sense of self is paramount and should begin in earnest across all spheres of life. How dare we dictate to the victim when, where, how, and why to heal and move on? How insensitive is it? How arrogant and how inconsiderate? Understanding and sensitivity are key. Not to trivialize the hurt that was caused by the battle, but the team of our creatives came up with an apt analogy, which reads as follows. You cannot heal a wound by merely putting a bandage over it. You have to clean the wound, remove all the poison and pus which have caused this wound to be septic, and then fix the wound. You have to be mindful that if the wound is left untreated or inadequately attended to, it will fester to the point of having to have the entire limb amputated. And if the different parts of the body, of the anatomy, were to be seen as different races, you would find that the loss of the limb affects the entire body. It is therefore very important that the various organs realize that they all need this limb to survive and should do everything in their power to collaborate and save the limb before it is too late. So building patriotic activists who love the land of their birth and are willing to go the extra mile to ensure that this works is the way to go, and it should be and it has been done before. The creative arts, and particularly music, have played quite a huge role in making citizens of the country and indeed the world over time to show them that they are tied and binding together as the human race, and these transcend all barriers. Over the years, we have seen examples of this through the most unlikely collaborative efforts, which resulted in a number of works with a unifying crossover appeal. Among the most prominent are Johnny Clegg and Sipho Mchunu of Tuluga and South Buga. One half of the legendary duo of Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon, partnering with Late Smith Black Mambazo on Graceland. And most recently, Mduduzi Shabalala, who is Zulu and popularly known as Mandoza, and Gabi Leroux and Africana, who partnered to create the Kwaito Zambra hit Nkalakatha, which still reigns supreme on South African dance floors to this day. The reincarnation of the likes of Bears Nodia, Ram Fisher, Mangaliso Sobuke, Fredo Mitra is much needed, if only to open the eyes of their ilk and make them realize that we do need to come to the table and have this dialogue. It is important to be heard, but perhaps it is more important to hear the viewpoint of the other party in order to understand how we can play. The volatility of this country extent calls for active communication as a means to avert an imminent bloodbath and revolution, which will eventually come if we continue talking past one another instead of talking with one another. Pan African Comics has laid the foundation and created a platform and a conducive environment through reading and learning through debate. Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwakho. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Kolani.
Thank you so much.
It is much, much appreciated. Yes, no, indeed.
Thank you, brother. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Give it up.
Yeah, no, that was, that's quite a lot to take in and reflect on.
I see it's still playing on YouTube. It's still live, so I'm watching on YouTube and what you guys decide.
Yes, we're having a conversation in relation to the topics and the points that have been raised and what it is that pertinently stands out in terms of what could be regarded as an example of reconciliation, a living example, and that being perhaps the likes of Gary Player, who has an opportunity to reach out in terms of what impact that would make if he was to reach out, and how it would conscientize others to reach out. I was talking the other day to a friend of mine who was telling me about an engagement that he had with a white colleague, and his white colleague was, giving his interpretation of the 16th of December, which is a holy day for the Afrikaners. And this is an Afrikaner friend of his. And the narration that he got was that then as settlers, they settled on land that was landless, that didn't have any people in it. Which once again talks to how far we still have to go in terms of correcting these distortions, whereby for them to be regarded as settlers and to be called as settlers, they came in to settle in land which was already occupied by others. And just from a reflection point of view, it's just that sense of understanding is very far removed from reality, is it not?
I think that's where we come in. We just have to make sure that we start this dialogue and keep it going. We have to keep the dialogue going because that creates that platform we're talking about, where we are not talking past one another, but instead we address and have a conversation with one another in order to help us understand both viewpoints and then move forward.